Hi, everybody. It's episode 522 of PodQuest.
Hey!
It is Wednesday, August 13th, 2024. I am Chris, with me is Druten.
Hello.
And Walnut.
I'm here.
Everybody's here.
Well,
Everybody made it. We survived.
I'm here. I'm here. I'm present. Present.
Present and accounted for.
Yes.
Good. Proud of you. You didn't get lost on your way to your desk?
No, I mean, it'd be pretty hard to get lost on the way to my desk.
You know what, though? I'm not going to say you couldn't do it. I believe in you.
I mean, here's the thing. You're right, but it wouldn't necessarily be getting lost on the way to my desk. It would be forgetting what I was doing and not going to my desk.
Sorry, I had to mute myself while I coughed. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's more so what it would have been.
But I still believe in you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Man, summer's almost over.
Good.
I mean, I agree. At least temperatures. Fuck these the hot temperatures.
Yeah, it's actually been nice the last 2 days, ever since that tropical storm rolled through.
Right?
Yeah.
It rained for a couple days, and then that rain actually helped for a change, rather than just making it more humid the next day.
I'm so ready to have my windows open. I'm so ready. I cannot wait to be able to turn off this air conditioner and have the windows open.
Yeah. This morning you probably could have. When I walked Kaylee this morning, it was 60 degrees. It was really pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pay that much attention to it, but lows are in the 60s, which is beautiful. It's beautiful weather. It's still a little too hot consistently highs.
Yeah, it's in the 80s still.
Honestly, for me, if it were pretty much low 80s consistently, that's window opening weather for me. With the lows that we're getting, with the low 60, mid 60s, low 70 lows, that's window opening weather for me. But because our highs are today would have been perfect. I would have opened them if I had paid attention. Tomorrow, no, high 80s. Thursday, high 80s. Friday, 90. Saturday and Sunday, maybe. Monday, high 80s. So it's I'm not going to pay attention too much of it. But you know what? I don't want to say anything, but I think this is potentially our mildest August in a while. It was a hot as fuck July.
I mean, June and July.
My July energy bill was $350.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
I mean, mine was close.
It actually might have been higher than $350. But usually that's saved for August energy bill. The bill for August is... Well, no, actually, you know what? You're right. It's usually... The bill I pay in August is usually the high one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, August is usually the high one because of July.
Yeah. So it's been pretty solid. It hasn't been too bad. It's still been hot as fuck at times, but not too bad, which is nice.
Yeah, have you guys noticed that it seems like because of how hot it was, the trees are dying a little earlier than usual?
Mm-mm.
Well, not just because of how hot it was, because of how hot and no rain. There are so many more dead leaves on the ground than there would normally be.
No, I have not noticed that, and I just have nothing but trees all around my house.
Yeah, I mean, so do we. But there is a concerning amount of dead leaves on the ground from these trees that should not be shedding leaves in August.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, true.
Hello.
Hi. I hear you saw music.
I did see music.
You didn't hear any music, but you saw it.
Yeah, I actively made sure to plug my ears to not hear any of it. I just wanted to watch the bands play their instruments like it was some weird pantomime.
Well, I was thinking maybe you had that thing where you see sounds and colors. Thank you. I knew it had a name, and I'm just no, that I can't think of the name.
Mm-hmm. You can see sounds.
Yeah.
That would be kind of cool. Probably, maybe. I don't know.
I kind of wish there was and this will probably be something that'll happen when stuff like Google Glass, and not necessarily Google Glass, but stuff like that, AR technology becomes more wide used. But I'm sure there will eventually be apps to be here's what it's like to have synesthesia. Because I want to know what it's like to be able to see sounds. I want to know what that's like.
It's probably way worse than it sounds like it would be.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
it's probably a goddamn nightmare, but...
But that's the thing. It may not be, assuming that, that's all you've ever known.
That's true.
Yeah, for me, I have astigmatism, and I'm used to living in a J.J. Abrams movie. And nothing but lens flare everywhere I go. Even with anti-glare glasses, I still get lens flare because of my astigmatism. Just used to it.
That's a bad astigmatism.
I mean, I don't really know how much it can be corrected even with anti-glare glasses.
Well, I mean, like I have one too, and like I don't like I definitely get like lens flare and stuff at night, but like it's not that bad. But yeah, being able to see sounds would be neat. I know there's a lot of instances where like musicians actually say that they have that, and it's usually the musicians that do like the weird shit, because for them, rather than doing a song technically, they're doing it based on like the colors that they see, and that's interesting. But Drew, who did you see? What did you see?
Well, apparently we both actually went to Sad Summerfest. I didn't know you were there.
Yeah,
but I missed the first band.
Ego
About
Bleach.
you? Yes.
No, dude. When I saw that they moved it indoors and that it was first come first serve. And knowing the size of the pit area in the Man, I'm just gonna get here when it opens and see how long I feel like standing up there.
Well, I'm pretty sure we got there just after it opened. Like, we parked 5 after 2, maybe.
So doors were at 1, and they probably actually opened at like 1:15.
Well, that is not what the fucking ticket said.
Oh, the Ticketmaster did. Ticketmaster said the show was at 2 and doors were at 1.
Nope. Well, or maybe that's not what the Man's website said then.
Oh yeah, the Man's website is fucking always wrong.
When I looked at Ticketmaster, it said 2, which is usually door time when I looked at my tickets. So we got there at 2, and by the time we like walked in and such, that for opening band was close to finishing up, and so we just went straight up to the merch.
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, they weren't bad. Like, they were fine.
The bit I heard of them, they sounded fine. That second band, I did not particularly care for.
Oh, I like Daisy Grenade.
Yeah, I didn't vibe with their singers. They didn't sing well, in my opinion.
That's fair. No, I've seen them a couple of times now, because they opened for Meet Me at the Altar last year and the Main.
Okay.
That's why the singer for the Main came out and did that one song with them.
Gotcha. I forget what the order was after that.
Hot Milk was after them.
Oh, Hot Milk. I like Hot Milk.
Yeah, they're fun.
And then Knuckle Puck was good. Real Friends, I only really know the one song.
Which song?
From the Outside.
Okay.
We the Kings, also, I only really know one of their songs.
Yeah, I was there mostly for actually Daisy Grenade and Real Friends. So I was right up front for Real Friends, which was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
But Real Friends and We the Kings were good. Like I said, I only really know.
Yeah, yes, Juliet, and they have that one other song that like you don't know the words, but like the chorus sounds familiar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember the name of the song, but like they have that one other song like middle of their playlist where it's like, yes, I've heard this sound before.
Right. The Main was all right. They don't play. They apparently never play the songs that I actually know. Like the handful I have saved, they just don't play those.
Yeah, and that's the third time I've seen them, because they played last year, Sad Summer, and then I went to their tour in Philly. It was kind of a weird set last week, I feel, like compared to like what they played like at their own tour, even like shortened.
Where were you in relation to the Main's vocalist's mic cord as he went out into the crowd with a fucking wired microphone?
Oh, I lifted it over my head twice.
Okay, you were one of the people holding it up.
Yeah, because So have you been to the Man like inside before?
No.
And Rich, I assume you haven't been there. Maybe actually, maybe you have for like one like a video orchestra sort of deal.
And yeah, I mean, I've been to like Legend of Zelda, or was it Pokemon? Was it Zelda and Pokemon? Yeah, Zelda and Pokemon were the two that I've been to there.
Yeah, so like that pit area, there's like a fairly large ledge that runs all the way around it, and there's like 2 doors on either side to get in and out of there. So a lot of the bands and singers were actually like going to the one side of the stage and then literally walking all the way around to the other side of the stage on like this like thing that is not meant to be like walked on.
No, but almost every band did at least once.
Yeah, but yeah, the singer from the Main, rather than walking all the way around, he jumped into the crowd to sing, and then he's like, "Oh, I can stand on this thing. Let's see how long this microphone cord is and how far away I can get." And
everyone else who did it had wireless equipment.
Yeah. or wasn't the singer. Like
Yeah.
the one, I think it was Hot Milk's bassist did it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like it was very weird for like the Wired Mike to be the one doing it.
Yeah. And then Mayday Parade, I know 2 songs that
real
they play.
quick for the main, I ended up catching one of the drummer's drumsticks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Go ahead though.
Yeah, Mayday Parade, I know Jamie All Over and Jersey, really, and that's kind of it. And then I knew all of the Wonder Years set. So
okay. See, I left actually after the main.
I mean, I was there for the Wonder Years, so
yeah, and
they're fucking dope. But
so it's actually very cool that they actually had them headline the hometown show.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were not the headliners the rest of the time. Mayday Parade was. It was actually the Wonder Years, the main, and then Mayday Parade is kind of the order they'd been going.
Okay.
Had the Wonder Years played earlier, I probably would have stayed for them. But like similar to you, I like Mayday Parade enough. Like the 2 or 3 songs I really know from them.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be like the 3rd or the 4th time I've seen them in 2 years. Because it just so happened that like they played the last 2 Sad Summers, and then they were also an opener at a different concert we had gone to last year. And I'm like, they put on a fine show. They're playing literally all the same songs that I heard last year, and I don't know any of them. And I was fucking exhausted from standing from 1:15 to 8:30.
Yeah, fair.
So I'm just like, you know what? It looks like it stopped raining. Let me wander up to the merch tent, see what they have going on out there, and then head home. How was the Wonder Years set, though?
They're amazing. They're so fucking good. They started with There, which is now 2 for 2 on getting me to tear up when they play that, because it's a fucking hit. Like, it just strikes, especially the middle verse, strikes literally every chord with me. Just the way the vocals are on that song, and the way the guitar is on that song, it's just, it does me in. But yeah, their set was fucking real good. At one point, their lead singer Dan ran off stage and then came back out in a Nick Foles jersey, and there was a little bit of a Big Dick Nick chant.
Nice,
because Nick Foles had announced his retirement that day.
Oh, that was that same day, wasn't it?
Yeah, or maybe it was the day before, but I'm pretty sure it was that day. But
yeah, like it was because I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, they were good.
Yeah, I actually I don't know if either of you saw, because I'm pretty sure Erica posted it on Facebook. After the main, when I went upstairs to the merch booth, I was wandering around. Everybody from Real Friends was at their merch booth. So I ended up going over, and the singer and bassist were kind of like standing there like talking. And I talked to them for a minute, and then they agreed to do like a shout out video for Erica because she couldn't make it.
I did see the little thing you posted,
which was actually like really cool of them. Like they could have just said, "Oh no, like we don't do those," or like
go pay for us on Cameo or something.
Yeah, exactly. But no, like they're actually they seem like a very like cool, down to earth band. Because I went and saw them last December. They played with Knuckle Puck in Philly, and I had gotten T-shirts. And the one that I had gotten Erica actually had a hole like on the side, like where like the seam of the shirt comes together. And like I didn't expect anything of it, but like I sent an email to like the support email on their site, be like, hey, like just a heads up, like some of your shirts might have holes like from like the stitching. And apparently they do all their own merch, so their bassist is the one that responds to all those emails. And like he just responded, he's like, hey, sorry, like give me your address, I will send you a new one for free.
That's cool.
Like didn't ask for proof of the hole, like nothing. Then he's just like, oh shit, we don't have that shirt. Go onto the web store, pick any other shirt we have. Just tell me what size and what address, and I'll ship one out to you.
Cool.
And like, yeah, you know, that is not the sort of customer service you're usually going to get places.
No.
But you saw somebody else too?
Yeah, then actually last night went to Kung Fu Necktie to see, it was Oso was doing their record release show.
Nice.
A new album came out on the 9th. So what was that, Friday? Saturday? Something like that?
Nice.
Last Friday.
They opened for Spanish Love Songs, right?
Yeah.
Are they from Philly?
No.
Oh.
I think they were doing like 3 shows for their like record release, but okay. According to Spotify, they're from Long Beach, New York. So,
okay. So
not
they're local
far.
adjacent.
Yeah. But it was them, and they had a local opener called Brackish. They were pretty good. Kind of like, I don't know exactly, but in that same vein as Oso Oso.
Right.
And then what was the name of the other band? Hold on. Pictures of Vernon.
That
They
sounds.
were
That name sounds familiar.
also kind of like a Midwesty emo, lots of finger picking guitar. They were pretty good.
Okay.
Um,
Nice. I like Kung Fu Necktie. That's a real tiny place.
Yeah, I think it's like 150 person max in there.
Yeah, I saw Erica and I went and saw a ska band there last like December. Well, it was a bunch of ska bands, and the headliner, like, that place was packed. Like, you really couldn't move, and like the stage area, and most of the bar was pretty crowded too.
But yeah, it was fun, good show, and like Oso wound up playing like 4 extra songs. Like, they were like, okay, all right, we got 2 more left. Played their 2 songs, and everyone, 1 more song, and they played 3 or more songs after that.
Nice. Did you go to Green Day?
I did not. Sarah
Okay.
went.
I knew Sarah was there. I wasn't sure if you went or not.
No.
You missed a good show.
Yeah. I mean, not surprised. Apparently, it was so good, Billy Joe blew out his voice, and they had to postpone Hershey the next day.
Yeah. I mean, he said it like in the middle of the second to last song. He's like, I think I just wrecked my voice, and then finished that song and then did Good Riddance. So yeah, but I don't know if Sarah told you, like, the rain caused the actual opener to not actually get to play.
She didn't, but I did eventually see that, because I eventually saw a post from them, like, thanking Billy for letting them play a song in the middle of Green Day set.
Yeah, so I think it was actually, so they did Dookie and American Idiot back to back with like a couple songs in between, and then like 2 songs on like either like beginning and end. And in that like middle bit between Dookie and American Idiot, they're just like, hey, like, they didn't get to play because of the rain earlier. So we're just gonna have them come out and like play a song now. And frankly, like, that was probably the biggest crowd they ever played to, because like at that point it was halfway through Green Day set, the stadium was full, and like must have been pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
it's funny. Actually, I ran into Nick and Anthony there.
Nice. That doesn't surprise me that they would be there.
Yeah, they apparently just bought really shitty tickets and then just wandered like the 100 level.
It seems that's what Sean and Jessica Breslin did.
Yeah, they were up in the 300s, I want to say. And then, yeah, like, they apparently, because we saw a bunch of the folks from Jersey Calling, but they went up there for Smashing Pumpkins, and then, like, midway through Green Day, midway through Dookie, just came downstairs so they could, like, be a little lower. And, like, even though there were a lot of people doing that, like, you could actually still get decent views of the stage from, like, in like Bank Park, like, they have all those like metal like tables at like the top of the sections. Like, people were just like hanging out, leaning on those, watching, and like, frankly, like in some of the spots, it was better views than being on the field. But yeah, music, it's fun.
It is.
What do you have coming up next?
Newfound Glory. Yeah, the Newfound Glory show, and then the Loneliest Place on Earth Fest, like 2 days apart from each other.
What's the Loneliest Place on Earth?
It's the Wonder Years festival.
That's why that sounds familiar. Is it at Franklin Music Hall again?
Yes, they actually also just recently announced they moved it inside.
Right, was that the one last year that was like outside, and it was kind of like weirdly advertised?
Yeah. Wonder Years aren't playing it, but Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, which is Dan Campbell's like other band, is.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Hot Mulligan's headlining it.
Okay. Well, I was actually going to look and see how much tickets were, because I've never actually seen the Wonder Years, but like I listened to them like leading up to Sad Summer, and I'm like, oh, like I like them, but they're not playing. I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, fair.
I was just too tired to stick around for another 2 hours at Sad Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. You're not. Shit. What was that other concert? Where's my spreadsheet at? I thought there was something else that you might be going to. Maybe not. Oh, that's in September. Suicide Machines. You're going to Suicide Machines, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. Because Kill Lincoln is on that one. There's a lot of bands playing that one, and it doesn't start all that early.
No. It doesn't. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's either going to be very late or very short sets.
Mm-hmm.
So, guess we'll find out. But Rich,
Yes.
what's on the agenda?
On the agenda, we all should have watched Jaws 3D. I watched New Mutants. Cobb, you read part of a manga, and I finally beat Pacific Drive.
Good job, by the way.
Thanks.
Thanks. Hey, it's what I'm here to say to people. So what did you guys think of Jaws 3/D?
I liked it. It was silly. It was
definitely silly. It was entertaining.
It was Jurassic Park before Jurassic Park.
Yeah, So I've never seen any of the Jaws movies. I always got the impression at least the first one is a little more serious. Is that the case?
The first one is very it's fairly serious, yeah. Like it's not like, and even this one it's serious, but it's silly serious. Like
it's very campy, and it might just be of its time because not only was it a 3D movie, but like a lot of the quote unquote special effects were not very good.
They were special.
Yeah,
all right.
My favorite scene of the movie was like the end when the megalodon. That wasn't a fucking great white. That was a fucking megalodon, man. That thing swallowed a man whole.
It was a 25-foot great white.
Great whites don't get that big.
35 foot.
Oh, 35 foot.
Yeah, they don't get that big, man. I'm pretty sure they don't get that big. I don't know for sure. But my favorite part was when they blew it up and you see the red liquid come out, and then everything start flying at the screen, and then the 3D Jaws stop in the front of the screen. It's like, oh, they did it. They did Jaws 3D.
Yeah, like that whole bit. And there's another scene where the shark is swimming. But it's not moving. It's just its mouth opening. Like the shark is coming at people, but like no part of the body of the shark is moving as it's swimming through the water. But you just see the mouth is slowly opening as it's just like a toy is slowly moved across the screen.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, y'all had zero budget for this apparently.
So a little context for you. I don't know if you caught it, but Dennis Quaid was playing the son of the character from Jaws 1. So
I did catch that the Dennis Quaid and then the other guy were both the brothers.
He was barely in it.
They were characters from the first two movies.
I don't even know if they had kids in the first movie. Like maybe the second movie. I don't know.
So
I guess there was a kid in the first movie, at least one.
I did look it up a little bit, and like they did they were apparently in the second one at the very least, just with different actors. And apparently Jaws 4, whatever the fourth one is called, that came out like 5 years after this one, retroactively just pretends this one never happened. It is a direct sequel to Jaws 2, and it brings back the woman from Jaws 2 who was the wife of the guy in the first one, who thinks that the sharks are out to get her, apparently.
I mean, it could make sense. Possible. But like it just I didn't realize that Jaws 2 I didn't realize these were all like connected. I thought they were all just like one shots. So it's like it was just all different shark movies.
Yeah, so apparently 1 and 2 and I guess parts of 3 or parts of 4, I mean, take place in Amity Bay or whatever it's called. While this one takes place in Florida.
Yeah, it's SeaWorld of all places.
I mean, you mentioned it already. I did not expect to see Dennis Quaid in this movie.
No.
Or Leah Thompson or Lou Gossett Jr.
I don't know who the other.
Leah Thompson is Marty McFly's mom from Back to the Future. He was the girl that the one brother meets at the bar that is in the ski team that gets like her leg all shredded up by the shark.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lou Gossett Jr. is the black dude, the only one.
The token.
Yeah. Like the older guy that was like
he was the owner
of sheriff or something.
I believe he owned SeaWorld is what it was.
Is that what it was? Okay. I knew he was important, but I couldn't remember what it was that he had done.
He either owned it or was just like the operator of like the operations manager of that location.
Like the COO or something like that.
But yeah,
So,
like
yeah.
I didn't expect to see like people like with names in the movie.
Yeah, like
essential.
But I mean, was Dennis? This might. I don't know how much of a name Dennis Quaid had back in 1987 or whatever this movie came out.
This was 83.
Yeah.
80. Yeah, I don't know what kind of a name Dennis Quaid had for himself in 83. So.
Well, we're gonna find out. Dennis Quaid.
Looks like it was his third or fourth movie.
Yeah.
It looks like he did quite a bit before this, actually. Did some television leading up to it, but did at least had parts in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 other movies before this one. I imagine like I recognize some of the names, but like yeah, I'm assuming his career took off after that, after Jaws 3D, and not because of Jaws 3D. Because like he was in The Right Stuff, and Great Balls of Fire and shit like that in the 80s, and then in the 90s he did all sorts of things.
Yeah,
and then he became Superman's dad for a little while. Right? I'm not thinking. Am I thinking of somebody else? Is that Dennis Quaid or is that someone else?
You're talking about Man of Steel, right?
Yeah. Who was the dad in Man of Steel? It might not be Dennis Quaid.
I don't know. I feel like you're right, and I feel like it was him.
I'm double checking because, like I said it, I'm just like, actually, is that him? Kevin Costner is.
Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Which Dennis Quaid and Kevin Costner could basically be the same person.
I'm pretty sure, like they are one of the actors that I probably always mixed up. Probably.
Like I know for a fact that like Kevin Costner was in things like The Bodyguard and Field of Dreams and Waterworld.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've said those things, I'm drawing a blank on things that Dennis Quaid has done. I think he was in The Parent Trap.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know. They're both guys that have acted in things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm actually kind of curious to go watch Jaws 1 and 2 now.
Watch them. I've seen Jaws 1, most of it, or probably all of it, but it's been a long time. Jaws 1 is solid. It's a classic.
Like, there's no reason that I haven't seen it. Like, It's not like I've avoided it. It's just one of those movies for one reason or another I've never sat down and watched.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I watched the third one, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was definitely campy and silly, but not over the top with the silliness. Like, it wasn't trying to be silly. But
exactly. But between it being
80s
old
3D
and
tech made it be silly.
Yeah, like the scene early on when the first guy gets eaten by the shark and they show his hand floating in the water, I'm like, that looks fucking terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's all that 3D tech, everything they were trying to do with the 3D to make it pop out and make it look like it's coming at you. Like, obvious, it just, you could see, what's the terminology? I can't remember the terminology, but like you could just see the outline of it and how it's like, obviously this was put in there.
I think you're thinking of like the polarized lenses, I think is the term you're looking for.
No, there's I can't remember. I've heard there's like a terminology for like what you see on the background when you cut things into it. I just can't remember what it is right now.
Well, I did like the very last scene when the dolphins jump out of the water and they're clearly not in the same picture. As...
You mean the freeze frame, like that?
Yeah,
the greatest freeze frame ever.
Like I was laughing so hard at that.
Yeah, like I saw that, I'm just like, okay.
I was like, yeah, the 80s.
Yeah. And that's what this movie was, incredibly 80s for a 1983 movie. It was incredibly 80s.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think like an incredibly 80s movie would be like mid to like late 80s, like late mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Not something that's like basically
early
the beginning
80s.
of 80s,
Mm-hmm.
early 80s. You'd think it'd still have a lot more 70s in it. No, this was incredibly 80s.
It really was, especially for being as early 80s as it was and coming off of two movies that were very 70s.
Yeah.
I forget exactly the scenes that I'm thinking of, but there were a couple times where it was definitely like you definitely ran out of film either time or budget because you would not have left that specific take in there if you had the time or budget to have done another one.
Yeah.
Like one was when they're in like the welding room and the woman like gets hurt as like at the end of the scene, and it's like y'all just left that take in there.
Well, even the final like shark confrontation where like they have the grenade explode in it.
Uh-huh.
I like how their sort of like solution for that was just pump a whole bunch of fake blood into the water to obscure what could possibly be there of the fake shark. This way they don't have to actually show anything of the shark dying.
Yeah.
Well, and that was leading up to that was the scene you were talking about with the shark just moving across the screen without any of the actual body of the shark moving.
Mm-hmm.
As it went towards the why in the world would you have a glass window like that underwater?
Well, like, I mean, it's to observe what's going on
but
below.
That room also shouldn't have been under the water.
No, it also probably should not have been under the water. But you would not have that like not be this incredibly tempered glass that shouldn't break from a fish. Look, no matter how big it is, running into it.
You don't know how strong a megalodon is, man. What can I tell you?
Fair, but they don't have bones. They're squishy. Like
their jaws are bones.
They're all cartilage, man. Sharks don't have bones.
Their teeth are just made out of other things.
An adult great white maximum reported size is 23.5 feet, and this one was 30 feet long, right?
35, I think they said it should be.
Yeah. I understand they're trying to embellish it's a movie, but still.
Oh, yeah.
But
that thing was huge.
Having seen both the Meg and the Meg 2, the Megalodon, far larger than that shark.
No, like, I'm over-exaggerating its size when I'm calling it a Meg, but still, like, that thing was way too big. For even, like, I don't think a shark that big would be able to survive in the ocean because there would not be enough food for it to eat. It would be too big and too slow for it to catch up to something, so it would not be able to survive. And the fact that it survived, I mean, I guess it was only in the air pipe for like 2 to 3 days tops, but the fact that it survived without eating for like 2 to 3 days is just crazy, because sharks need to eat. They did some real science in this. Sharks needs to constantly move in order to breathe, and they need to eat a lot.
Sharks don't eat that much.
They do move though. That part I knew was true. I had never heard they had to eat a lot.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they very explicitly don't have to eat that much. It's like surprising how little sharks actually eat.
Oh wow! Sharks can go days, weeks, months, and sometimes more than a year without eating. Sharks are cold-blooded; they don't burn energy as fast as humans, requiring fewer meals. Sharks survive on the oil in their liver. It is stored after they eat. I did not know that. I thought sharks ate more.
No, they don't. Way to lie to us.
You would think with it being like a predator creature, but yeah, surprisingly, no.
Yeah.
So I guess if you think about it, like there are a lot of predators that don't necessarily eat a ton. Like they do tend to like get their kill, eat, and then be like satiated for a period.
Mm-hmm.
Versus humans that have to eat, every day, or we get
3 meals a day.
Cranky.
I mean, who's saying these sharks? I mean, maybe that's why the shark started to like break shit. Shark was cranky. It was hungry. Shark was hangry.
I mean, could be.
Also, its fucking baby died. I was kind of Team Jaws at a point in this movie. Motherfucker stole its goddamn baby and killed it.
All because that one douchebag wanted to make money.
Yeah.
Like the two sciencey people, they're just like, no, don't do that. And then they dove right in there and tried to save it, but it was too late. That shark was already dead.
But I mean, yeah. They killed the baby shark. Do. What?
Can't believe you just did that.
That was entirely unintentional. I promise you that.
He just has he's like Cartman with Come Sail Away. If he hears the words baby and shark next to each other, he has to do it.
No, for a fact he wrote down that note while watching the movie and had a post-it on his screen so that he wouldn't forget at some point to bring it up.
Please, I didn't even write down that I wanted to say nice after episode 520. You really think I would have written that down?
Yes.
No. This was improv, my friend.
Anyway,
was just off the cuff.
Anyway, anything else either you guys want to say about Jaws 3?
No.
I thought it was an entertaining movie. Like, it's not good, it's not bad, it's entertaining, and that's really what I look for in movies. I don't care if it's good or bad. I just want to be entertained.
Yeah,
sometimes they coincide with each other. Sometimes a bad movie is still entertaining. Sometimes a good movie is isn't entertaining. This
Yeah.
one was in that middle line of like, all right, it was entertaining, and I liked it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Now, Drew, I think it's your pick.
I guess. I don't know. It's fine. We all said we haven't seen The Godfather, correct?
Yes.
Okay, then let's do The Godfather Part 2. It's on Paramount.
Are you sure you don't want to do The
Oh,
Godfather
God.
Part 3?
Yes.
I hear
I'm-
that's the best one.
Like I'm hesitant on this one. Like I understand the point of this is like going into a movie you've never seen the movie before, but like these are classics. And if you're going into this like you're Jaws, you don't need to know what the fuck happened before. Like I've never seen Jaws 2, but who knows? But like this I'm scared because like these are like back to back, take place like within days of each other from what I understand. Like
You don't know that, though. There could be decades between them.
No, there's not.
Then it should be
But-
easier to pick up on.
Or you're not going to know it. You're going to be like, who's that? Who's that? Who's like, I'm all for it. Let's do it. But
I feel like
I'm
this
just
more
scared.
fits the concept we had for this theme than Jaws did. Potentially.
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe fucking Jaws 3 was really connected to Jaws 2 and none of us know because they make zero reference to
I mean,
anything.
other than the sons being in it.
Yeah. And
Um,
once saying where it happened.
Yeah. But no, I'm down to watch Godfather Part 2.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not? That's it. 2 weeks, we're talking about Godfather Part 2.
yeah.
All right, Richard,
Ah,
New Mutants.
this is it. We're done. All of the mutant movies, all of the Marvel mutant movies, all of the X-Men related movies. I liked it. I thought it was very solid. It was an interesting story. It was an interesting, it was an interesting way to introduce these characters that like are all troubled. And like I didn't do a lot of research into them while watching. I really just looked up to see who they were in the comics. I didn't care to read like what they did and if they were like as troubled as they are in this.
They kind of are, kind of aren't. Like they skipped a lot of stuff. Like magic magic as introduced is not what magic was in that movie.
Mhm.
But like you're right. Like it's not a bad movie. It's just it's disjointed a lot of times. Like it was obviously the director had one vision, but the studio didn't want that vision.
Yeah, like they really wanted to lean a little bit more on horror, more on suspense. And it seemed like they turned around and was like, no, we need to make this heroes. And like they could have leaned on the horror and then turned it into heroes at the end, but they like kind of just leaned more towards like these are just not horror and not even suspense, but like I don't know what you would call a movie about troubled youth. Like I don't know. I don't know like I don't really know what kind of movie you would put this under, but it wasn't a horror movie and it wasn't a superhero movie, but it like definitely you're right, you can tell it's not exactly the movie they were looking to make. Which sucks. 'Cause I want to see the horror cut of this film.
Yeah, or even just like the thriller cut of it, because I feel like that's what they were going for, like more of like that. Because they're all in that like inpatient therapy place, and you know, like there's a lot of moving pieces there that just kind of get like pushed to the back when they were obviously supposed to be something else.
I wish they made the mystery of what was going on more of a mystery towards the viewer.
Yeah,
That's my biggest problem with the movie is, the second the movie starts, or the second you get into the facility and weird shit starts to happen, oh, this is what's her name's abilities? I can't remember her name.
Danny, was it?
Yeah, Danielle. This is Danny's abilities. Like, immediately this is her abilities. They didn't hide that. And I wish they did that. I wish they did try to find a way to hide that throughout the movie up until, like, honestly, just cutting it differently to where you don't see it as her being experimented on every time her powers manifest until the very end when the doctor brings Danny into the room to euthanize her. And, like, you then start showing the flashbacks of, like, oh, you were being experimented on every time your powers manifest and they were attacking everybody and you're too strong. Like, throw that all out there at once, but create more of that mystery. And the reason they didn't create that mystery, it lost that touch of that little bit of a like spookiness to where it's like, oh well, who could this have been? Who could this be? Kind of thing. Like, yeah, it wasn't executed all that well, but like the overall story and like idea behind the movie was good, and I liked it, and they all have some awesome powers.
Yeah, and like for the most part, this was the original New Mutants cast. Like those were like the second generation X-Men essentially.
Yeah, it's a shame we're not gonna see them again because I thought they were all casted very well.
Yeah,
I thought
and, they are interesting characters too.
Mm-hmm. But like it's very unlikely we're gonna see them again. If anything, they're part of. I mean, not if anything, they are part of Deadpool's universe because they showed us the facility from Logan.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah, they connect this movie to Logan in some way. Whether it be like, I mean, it's present day Logan, so this is 2029-ish is when this movie takes place, really. Because like they show scenes that were recorded from the past but not too far in the past in Logan. So like, because they show the hospital stuff when they're working on X-23s.
Right, and these movies also had the Essex Corporation stuff in them too. I'm scanning the Wikipedia page now, which that was teased in. It
was teased in Days of Future Past.
And
no, not Days of Future Past. Apocalypse. It was teased in Apocalypse.
It was in the Weapon X facility.
Yeah, it was. It was like the stinger at the end. It was the Essex Corp. Was the one who went and cleaned up Alkali Lake.
Yeah, because that was all supposed to lead to
Logan, and which also connected to New Mutants, and which I was shocked that I didn't know that until I watched this movie. Like, no, and I didn't know that it had like a direct connection to the X-Men movies, and like it's not an immediate connection, but it is a direct connection to all the X-Men movies, which is pretty crazy.
And also, I was actually going to say it was a connection to them doing Mr. Sinister down the road, because Mr. Sinister's name is Nathaniel Essex.
Yeah.
So, like, that was them like, it happened enough times that they were absolutely setting up for something like that before the Marvel buyout. Because I think this film, I believe New Mutants actually was filmed prior to...
Yeah, it was the last...
Fox buyout.
It's the last Fox movie filmed, Fox Marvel movie filmed before the buyout. Which is also one of the reasons why it took so long to come out, I believe, is because they were still trying to patent down those licensing rights. Because I think this movie was supposed to come out in like 2018 or 2019.
It was at least delayed by a year.
Yeah.
But it very well may have been longer.
And then it was delayed a little bit more because of COVID, which then I believe it was like a direct-to-VOD movie because of COVID.
Yeah, that sounds right. And I think it was on like HBO or something. Like it wasn't actually even like a Disney Plus release.
Actually, I don't know if it was direct-to-VOD. Because I probably would have watched it a lot sooner if it was.
I remember when it originally came out, you didn't seem to have much interest in it. And I definitely didn't go see it in the theaters. It looks like it had a limited release in August of 2020.
That's what it was. It was limited release, and then I don't think it went to actual streaming services for a while.
Let's see. The New Mutants was released in the United States in August 2020. It was originally set to be released in April 2018.
Yeah.
Before being delayed to February 2019 to avoid Deadpool 2, and then to August 2019 to avoid Dark Phoenix. It was delayed to April 2020 by Disney after the studio acquired Fox, and then removed from Disney's schedule in March 2020 due to COVID. Disney rescheduled the film for August 28th, 2 months later. The various delays have led to several online commentators referring to the film as cursed and lamenting its bad luck. The film acknowledged this curse during the 2020 Comic-Con at Home convention. Recorded dates and ended, fingers crossed, 28. Preventing it. Oh, interesting. So there was some sort of contract that barred it from being directly released to streaming.
Mm-hmm. That's what it was. And so it was VOD, or not VOD, but it was released in theaters. And then I think it was released for rent only for a while.
Yeah, in November is when it went to like VOD and Blu-ray and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
But it wasn't like a streaming service where you needed to pay to watch it.
yeah.
And, like, that's probably where it was for me, where I'm like, I'm not really interested. It's like I'll wait until it's free. Like I'm not that interested enough to watch it right away. But I was I'm a fan of Maisie Williams. I'm a fan of Charlie Heaton. Like Anya Taylor-Joy, like she's a good actress. Everyone else I don't really know, but like I like them. I like the cast.
I mean, the Sam Cannonball is the brother from Stranger Things, right?
Charlie Heaton, yeah. He's
That's his name?
brother. Yeah. He's the older brother of the kid who goes missing in the first season.
Yeah, I can't remember that kid's name.
Neither can I. Doesn't really matter. We'll find out when we watch the last season when it finally releases in like 6 years.
I forgot they gave fucking Magic Lockheed.
Yeah, she had. Well, it was like her coping mechanism. She had a little Lockheed dragon talking hand puppet, which I was like, that's a cool addition. And then at one point, she appears with Lockheed on her shoulder because she uses her magic to summon Lockheed. I was like, that's great. I like that.
But Lockheed was Shadowcat's like partner, friend, dragon thing.
It's fine. It makes more sense that the character who can jump dimensions and use their mutant abilities to cast magic to have a dragon. It just makes more sense than the person who can run through walls to have a dragon.
That's why she had a dragon, because her power was just running through walls.
I mean, her power's different now. She can make people time travel in their brains. So
that's only in the movies.
That's what I'm saying. In these movies, they're going to change things. And they gave the person who can cast magic as a mutant power, even though there's wizards or sorcerers, they gave her the dragon.
So her mutant power is actually teleportation.
Yeah.
She actually learned the magic separate from that.
I liked the Slender Men that were chasing after them. I was like, oh, it's Slender Man.
Oh, that's right. That was like the weird like villain, but it wasn't really a villain, right?
It was a manifestation of Mirage's powers.
Right. Okay.
Of Danielle's powers against magic. She manifested her powers to represent like the men that were going to do bad things to her. That she ended up having had killed. Like they were these creepy freaking Slenderman type guys. I was like, these guys are amazing. I love them. But yeah, I like the movie. I think it was good. I'd put it somewhere in the middle, like probably dead middle. It wasn't
after First Class, before Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, probably. Like it wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. It was definitely a movie that like I wouldn't mind rewatching again. But like I don't have to. It's nice that it's not directly connected, although it does have direct connections to all the other movies. Like it can stand alone on its own. You can just watch it whenever. Which, like, honestly, a lot of these movies, when it comes to Marvel, like they do kind of like they don't really stand alone, but they can. They really like X-Men Marvel movies did a decent, or X-Men Fox movies, at least the first. They did a decent job of like being kind of monster of the week, but also still being interconnected in some way, shape, and form. But like, it's really mostly the Wolverine movies that you don't have to know the prior to know anything else. The rest of them are all directly connected. So yeah, it's Wolverine and New Mutants that you don't need that all stand alone. Anything Wolverine and New Mutants are the only ones that stand alone.
Yeah, I guess that is true, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, it was good. I really liked it. I had a good time watching it. I also watched this immediately. Did I watch this immediately after watching Jaws, or did I watch Jaws immediately after watching this? I think it was Jaws and then this. And I was just like, this is a good afternoon. I'm happy with my afternoon. I had a good afternoon.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you had a good afternoon watching movies.
Yeah, I needed it.
Everyone needs a good movie afternoon sometimes.
They do.
So I read a thing called Yona of the Dawn. I don't know if either of you have ever heard of that.
Nope.
I figured. So it's a manga. It's still ongoing. It started in 2009. It is up to 44 volumes right now. I read the first 21 so far, and so it's weird, but like in like a cool way. It's not like weird the way manga and anime can be fucking weird. It follows the protagonist Yona, who she is the princess of a kingdom that was founded by a dragon god thousands of years before, who basically gave up his dragon god powers to become a human and found a kingdom. But he was protected by these four people that were granted powers by four other dragon gods. So one of them had the ability to basically just destroy things with its arm. Like one of its arms was like a big dragon arm with like sharp claws and could literally just like cut through anything. Another had a leg that allowed it to jump really high. The third one have eyes that could paralyze enemies. And the last one is basically a shield. It's immortal and just instantly heals from any injury, as long as it's an injury in the vein of protecting the Dragon King, essentially. So as long as they get hurt in an effort to be helping them, it seems like they heal immediately. So this picks up 2,000 years later, and Yona is like a teenager. She's a princess. Her father is the king. Their country is technically at peace, but it's a very limited peace, and they're constantly under threat of invasion from bordering countries.
Mm-hmm.
So her friend and cousin shows up and murders her father to take over the country. And you think he's actually like a villain early on. And she escapes with her bodyguard and other like childhood friend who like kind of like escapes with her, who is one of the strongest generals in that kingdom's army at the time too. And so as they're kind of traveling, you find out that she may actually be like the reincarnation of the dragon god king dude. And there are also reincarnations of those four dragon warriors that protected him in the past. So the early part of the series is her kind of like finding them and finding out like what's going on, and them all basically realizing who she might be and agreeing to like protect and travel with her. But as it kind of goes on, you start like finding out more about the history of everything, and she starts getting more involved in the politics of the land, because they're traveling around this country that she never really had any access to, because she was, kept in the palace as like the princess. So she's going places and seeing poverty and crime and drug use, or not even just drug use, like rampant like drug abuse and like epidemics of stuff. And then issues where those border countries are invading and kidnapping people, enslaving them, and then like basically running back to their country so they don't get in trouble. So they start like this quest of like basically going around the country and like cleaning things up as best they can, and like getting involved where they probably shouldn't always. And the whole time kind of trying to avoid the actual kingdom, because at least her and her initial bodyguard are both assumed dead. And the four dragon warriors are not supposed to even really exist. So, like, if they get captured, bad shit will happen. But as you're kind of following it, you find out that her cousin that killed the king, he actually isn't, like, evil. Like, he didn't do it as I want power. He did it as this guy refuses to actually protect the country. And this country is just falling into disarray, and it's going to be invaded, and the citizens are going to be killed. Mm-hmm. And he apparently just wouldn't listen to reason, so the guy took it into his own hands and committed regicide. But a few times throughout it, like the characters you're following end up like bumping into him in one way or another, and it's always in these kind of like ways where he is able to play it off that he doesn't realize who it is. So like you realize like fairly early on that like he doesn't want to actually kill them. Like he doesn't want to capture them, but he also can't openly like embrace them, because one, they hate him, and two, like the other like generals and like village leaders and stuff like that would probably not side with him, since she is technically the direct heir. But yeah, it's been really interesting so far. Like I said, I'm halfway through like what is published right now, so there's still quite a bit to go. One of the most interesting things so far, though, is So each of the dragons are like named after a color, and they're not actually dragons, like I said. Like they are just humans with some sort of aspect of a dragon that gives them some kind of superhuman ability. And each of them is like born into a specific village, and their predecessor generally dies around the time that the new one hits like puberty. It seems like most of the predecessors last until the new one is like 12 or 13 years old. And it seems like in most of the cases, two of the dragons, the green and the blue, are basically treated like shit. Like they're kept not enslaved, confined. Confined is the word I'm looking for. Like they're not allowed to leave, because if they ever left and got caught or something like that, the villages would be invaded, because people just want to find the next iteration of them. But you find out that the fourth one, the yellow dragon, he's actually the original yellow dragon, because he was the one that was like a shield. So he just never died. He spent 2,000 years just kind of wandering the world after the original king died, and after his original 4 like comrades died, just kind of alone and eternally like 17. So when he first shows up, he's like super weird and goofy, and just seems a little like, you know, those like, and Rich, you'll probably know it more, like those anime characters that are kind of aloof and like they never seem real serious. Nothing really ever bothers them. They just kind of like flow in and out of things. Mm-hmm. And then like something happens and all of a sudden they're like the badass one. Kind of like Uehara in Bleach. Yeah. Like you see him for like the first like half of it and he's just like the goofy shopkeeper with the fucking sandals. And then the first time shit hits the fan, you find out that he's actually like a former Soul Reaper.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happens here. Like this guy's just kind of like wandering and he's goofy and he's never of any use in a fight. And then a fight comes up where the other dragons are all injured and sick. And he just like steps in front of like a sword slash, gets cut in half and then like stands back up. And is just like, I'm not a good fighter, so I'm not going to be fighting to disarm you. I'm just going to kill you. And just proceeds to kill a bunch of people. It's like, oh, okay. That wasn't expected from the goofy kid.
Yeah.
But then after that, you realize like he refers to everybody as like young terms. So he calls Yona young lady. There's another guy that travels with them that he is younger and almost acts more like, he basically acts like a mother to everybody. Like he makes all the food. He makes like he's usually the one that's like taking care of people when they're injured and sick. This guy refers to him as lad or young lad all the time. And like you just think it's like maybe like a weird translation thing. But then it turns out that it's actually just this dude is 2,000 years old and they are all actually children to him. Mm-hmm. But it was cool seeing his actual, it was like 2 or 3 issues of his actual backstory where you find out he always refers to himself in the third person, and you find out that somebody recommended that so that he doesn't forget himself. And then you find out that he realized at one point that all of the dragons were being reincarnated, and he actually went and basically visited each of them when they were like very small children, as just to check in on them sort of thing, because to him those are the friends that he lost 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's good though. I like it. I don't know how many volumes are in are available here yet. And it's unfortunate. It's a Viz manga, but it's not on Shonen Jump. So it's one of those, you kind of have to wait for the volumes to release or read the not always accurate, fans sub versions. So at some point I'm probably going to catch up and then have to wait months at a time for like the new volumes to be available.
It blows my mind that this is still something ongoing because the anime only lasted a year.
Yeah, the anime only got 1 season. Yeah. It's weird too because like from what I understand, where the anime got up to was also sort of, unfortunately, kind of like the weaker part of the series. Like it's definitely one of those ones where it's interesting early, but it's like right after where the anime ends is like where it really gets interesting. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's where they could have, like, if they got another season, there's a chance that the anime would maybe not still going on because it would have run out of material to use regularly, but like probably would have gotten a few seasons out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, it's been really good, and I'm looking forward to continuing it. And I hope it doesn't go on so long that like it loses like the interest. Like
I was gonna say it's been going on since 2009, but it's also only 11 volumes. So
no, it's 44 volumes.
or is that? Did I misread the wrong thing? I thought I saw that it said only 11.
No, like I'm on chapter. I'm on volume 22, which is chapters 124 through 129.
44 volumes, but still, 2009 to present, 44 volumes. It's not a lot. It's quarterly mostly.
I was gonna say it's either monthly or bi-monthly. So all the chapters are longer. Like One Piece or My Hero being weekly, their chapters are like 18 pages or less. Mm-hmm. These chapters are all like 30 to 40 pages. Mm-hmm. So they're actually longer than like an American comic, for instance.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still going, and I guess I'll see if it continues to actually like be good or not. Oh, according to Wikipedia, up to volume 41 is available in the US. 42 is coming in September, which means 43 and 44 will probably be maybe like December and late winter, early spring 2025.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it is dumb how like we get anime like 2 weeks at this point. We get certain manga gets done like day and date of the English or of the Japanese chapters. But when it comes to like the volume releases, like they're just so far behind on the release schedule.
Yeah. I mean, it's not it's a big industry, but it's not as big of an industry over here, I guess. So to take the time to have to translate and put it all together and whatnot, is it worth it? Are people buying it? Things like that.
Yeah, it's a shame that more of the like publishing side of it doesn't do like the actual platforms where you can just subscribe and read. Mm-hmm. Because there's one I forget what the platform was called, but there was one that launched from like Condé Nast, I want to say is the publisher, that they do like stuff like Fairy Tail, but mm-hmm. you can't. It's not like Shonen Jump where you pay like $5 a month and you can read X amount of stuff a day. It's you pay for a subscription and then you have to buy credits to buy chapters.
Yeah,
weird.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to pay for a subscription and then also spend money on top of that to buy like credit to read these things.
There's a lot of like services out there that do some like silly incentives that like something like that. Like that's weird. Like you subscribe and you have to pay to subscribe and then you have to pay to actually read everything. Like I know there's some programs out there, some like not programs, like services out there, like streaming services and whatnot, where it's like, hey, if you subscribe, you can get this thing 2 weeks earlier or a week before it shows up on YouTube. I'm like, but that still means I have to wait weekly to watch it.
Yeah.
So that's not an incentive. Like I'm still watching it weekly. So why would I want to do that? And so like, it makes no sense to like, hey, pay us to pay us.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, that sort of thing's never sat right with me. And I'm okay if it's like if the subscription is a credit system, the way that like Audible is.
That's literally what I was about to say. If it was like Audible, and it's like, okay, there's this massive library, and you only get to pick like one thing a month. That's kind of one thing.
Yeah. But like, the way that thing worked was like, and the problem is it's like $5 a month, and you get like a couple chapters for free a month, which depending on the book, that's potentially 15 pages. But then you have to spend like $10 more to get another chapter.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's a really shitty system. And meanwhile, like the Shonen Jump one is like, I think it's like $5 a month. And you can pay extra for, if you want to buy like the digital volumes through it. Mm-hmm. And they have a limit on how many chapters you can read in a single day.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's 100. Like 100 chapters a day, totally reasonable. Frankly, like 50 chapters a day for how little they charge for it, I think would be totally fine. Because like some of these things are incredibly long. Like you could very easily read 300 chapters of certain series in a day because they're quick and they just flow so quickly. Mm-hmm. But I digress. Yona of the Dawn, really good. I haven't watched the anime, but it would be cool if they did one of those like pick it back up for another season, even though it's been 10 years, which, you know, happens occasionally. I forget the Devil is a Part-Timer just had that happen. Like the first season aired in 2013. It didn't get a second season until 2023. Because anime is fucking weird. But yeah, Rich.
Yes.
You finished Pacific Drive.
Yes, I finally finished Pacific Drive. I started that game months ago. With being a Let's Play series. And I moved it into a live stream series because it was really hard to be a Let's Play series with. Because it's roguelite, which I went into it expecting Subnautica but car, but no, that's not what it was.
I remember you saying that initially.
Yeah, and like it was a disappointment, but not like a I hate this game disappointment, just a this isn't what I was expecting disappointment. But it ended up still being really cool. It's a run-based game. You as you progress throughout the map, you go into different regions that have different like crafting supplies that you then bring back to your home base and start crafting different things. You collect the energies you need in order to upgrade your base, upgrade your car, things like that. But at one point or another, the game, as it does with like really my issue with a lot of roguelites, even though I do enjoy the idea of a roguelite, and some or most roguelites I've played I've enjoyed, but like at one point or another the runs start to get incredibly repetitive, or the maps start to become incredibly repetitive. You're doing the same maps, you're doing the same locations, you're doing the same objectives, and so like that's where this game hurts, is it does start to get pretty repetitive, especially near the end, midway to end, where it's just you're going to this place to grab these items. You don't need any of the beginning region items, so you're kind of just bypassing them as fast as possible to get to the end, to get to the mid region or the end region items. But like the thing I was having trouble with is you need swamp eggs, but you only get swamp eggs on the south mid portion of the map. So the map is broken up into 3 rings, one big circle, one middle ring, and one outer ring. The southern part of the middle ring is where most of the swamp is, and the I guess eastern part of the outer ring is where the rest of is where like more trees are. I ended up having a lot of runs going to the eastern part and not to the southern part, because that's where I could spend more time and jump more maps going to the eastern part. And so I ended up having a lot of trouble getting the stuff that I need from the southern part, and I wasn't able to upgrade enough. And that's like, again, like my roguelites can become incredibly random, and it can become incredibly frustrating, especially a game like this where it's crafting. Like you need to craft these things, and you have degradation of all your items, which I'm all for in a survival crafting game, for there to be degradation. But then when you throw in the roguelite aspect of it, where your one run could take an hour to an hour and a half, and you don't get half as many supplies as you needed for the thing you're trying to upgrade to, it can just be absolutely frustrating.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that.
But like overall, like the game was fun. It had a solid story. There was like kind of a sad part near the end. The last like run, your last quote mission, was a little lackluster compared to the prior 2 story objectives. The last 2 major story objectives. So it's like, well, of the last 4. The 2 of the last 4 were like go to this region and do a thing. The one in between the like 4th to last and the 2nd to last, so like the 3rd to last one, was just go and explore the new region real quick. But like the 4th to last and the 2nd to last was like go to this place and run through these things and make sure your car doesn't get destroyed and connect all these things. And it was really cool, and it was pretty intense. The 2nd to last one was just like a big circle around the map, and it was really cool. And then the final run, you go and it's like, all right, drive into this thing, and you drive into the thing, and then you just start running along this corridor. Like you teleport out of your car, and you're in this corridor where you your character, all the NPCs talk with you and talk with each other as you're running through this corridor. You get to your car and you drive through a portal, and that's it. Like, it did get a little intense. Things were falling at you, but it wasn't as crazy as like some of the last main objectives were. And I'm like, that's a little lackluster. Like, I'm glad that they let you wrap up the story, but it was a little disappointing. There's no end game content.
Oh.
So once you beat the game, you can continue to do runs, but there is no reason to do runs unless you're trying to just upgrade your base entirely and have all of the upgrades and get the strongest car. But again, what's the point of doing that if there's nothing after?
That's a little bit of a bummer. Like, I mean, it sounds like you were done with it at that point, but like it not having a reason to go back, like for that type of game, is a little bit of a.
Well, there were some. There's one feature or one aspect of the game that I thought was incredibly bad. And so what it is you open up your map and you can only travel through regions that you've already been to. So let's say you want to get to region 7, but you haven't been, and region 7 connects to region 5, 4, and 6. But you have not been into 6. You cannot go from region 6 to 7. You can only go to region 7 through 5 or 4. So if you wanted to go to region 7 through 6, you need to take a run to region 6 and then go back and restart your next run. Some of the regions you can go to have different like special things going on in them. Like there's greater chance of anomalies, there's greater chances of this or that happening, and some of them are called dead ends. Where
like,
there
just
is
like literally dead end.
Literally, you get there, there are no energy things to grab energy. There's no portals to leave. There's no exits out of there. It is literally a dead end. And
That's dumb.
The only way to get out of it is to die, or is to end your run. Which ending your run then means you return back to your garage. Your car's all damaged. You have to repair it the best you can, and then find your way back out to that same numbered region, which is now going to be a differently randomly generated map of that region, to collect all of the supplies that you lost from having to quit out of that region. So you are not only are you limited at certain points of where you can go based on what you've uncovered, but you're then limited to, I can't go this way because of a dead end. I can't go that way because of a dead end. I can't get out here. If I were to go to this spot, I can't end my run here because of it being there's no stable gateways to get out. So I can drive through that area, but I can't end my run there. So I need to track a course to find a new way out. I didn't play after I beat the game because it was like midnight, and I was like, I need to go to bed. But the other issue with the game is you can only travel forward. You can't travel backwards. So you can set up a route, and like by saying you can't travel backwards, I mean I don't really know, but yeah, you can tell the map where you want to go, and you will be given one exit out of that map. And then once you get from entrance to exit, you can then pick what pinpoint area, what region you go to next. But you can't go back the way you came from. So you can only keep going forward, and you can't cross the same map more than once. So you're only ever going straight, in a straight line, basically. You're only ever going to the end and then ending your run. Maybe you can like circle around the map a little bit and find ways to finesse yourself to get multiple spots around the map and make more of a circle and less of just a straightforward line. But you always have to pick an endpoint when you start a run. And when you get to that endpoint, that ends the run. You can't just go on forever, which I think is kind of bad. I should be able to go on until I'm ready to call it. Because if I want to go get all of the swamp eggs that I need, I should be able to just go get all the swamp eggs that I need. But this is, again, they're manufacturing replay. But that's just making the game longer because, like, the last two missions was go to this region. Go to region 13. that will attach to region 14. But go to region 13 and do this ring around the map and then come home. And then the next mission was go to region 14, which you have to drive through region 13 for. So you just made an hour-long run, and you just made me have to play the game for another hour because I now have to drive back the exact route I just went to get to where I was to get to the next region. Which I'm like, this is frustrating. You should have just been like, all right, now that you're done that, get going. You're ready to go to the end of the game, and go to the end of the game. Let me just keep going forward instead of having to reset. There's another feature of the game which is a little frustrating. It's the more you drive around with certain parts, the more worn out they get. So your tires can go bald, or your one of your side panels can just get worn down, which causes them to break faster or to be more damaged. Oh, so like if you have a side panel that's extra storage and it's worn down, it's more likely to break, and you're likely to lose items. Items are likely to drop out of that thing. So you have to keep an eye on that stuff and rebuild your car sometimes. So there was one of the last runs I had to do. I had to rebuild pretty much every aspect of my car before the run because everything was worn down. And that, like, again, leads into if you don't have all the supplies that you need for the late game supplies, you're not going to be able to build certain stuff. And the recycler doesn't give you 100% of the items needed to build that thing. It's only like 80% of it. And usually the 80% isn't the 80% of the stuff you actually need. It's scrap metal that it's giving you mostly. So like it got a little frustrating. It was good. I had fun playing it. I was just ready to beat it. Because I didn't want to spend more time doing nothing. It felt like when I was making runs out there, I wasn't doing anything. I was getting supplies, but as soon as I got back to base, all of those supplies I were using to recraft everything I already had because of how much of degradation there is in these items. And so it got a little frustrating where I was just like, I want to beat this game. I want to be done with it. I want to finish it. To be honest, I've been considering jumping ship with my time at Porsche and not doing that as a Let's Play series anymore, and moving to
being done with it entirely.
No, but I want to move it to a live stream series.
Oh, okay.
Because it can take 2 to 3 hours for me to record a half-hour session.
Right, you've talked about that before.
So, like, I wanted to beat Pacific Drive so that I can then consider doing this move with my time at Porsche. Because I didn't want 2 series that were Let's Play series initially turn into live stream series at the same time. I'm probably not going to do that. We'll see. We'll see how things go with progression right now. I think I'm at a good point with my time at Porsche where I can continue to progress with everything that I already have now. But it was getting frustrating at points where like there was like 3 episodes in Porsche where I literally did nothing. I was like, all right, guys, we're just grinding again. And that's how it felt when I was trying to do a series with Pacific Drive, is like, it would take an hour and a half to do a single run. It would take 3 hours to do a single run. Or not a single run, but it would take 3 hours to get any sort of content. I'm like, well, this sucks. This is hard to cut down to a half hour. And I'm wasting time by doing it this way, which is why I moved it to a live stream. And I'm glad I moved it to a live stream. It was a lot more fun as a live stream.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it's a fun, like, Drew, you love roguelites. I think you might enjoy this game. I think you might find some fun out of it. It does have that aspect of a survival crafting game, which I don't really know how you feel about those. But like, you might find some enjoyment out of it.
I've been meaning to like kind of put it on my Steam watch list and check it out next time it goes on like a good sale.
Mm-hmm. It just came out, so it'll probably go on a good sale within a year. Which is going off track. I thought Prince of Persia came out like 4 months ago.
One of them did.
I thought the new Prince of Persia came out 4 months ago.
Yeah, so a new Prince of Persia came out like 4 or 5 months ago.
No, it was officially released yesterday or earlier this month.
Which one are you talking about?
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Wait, that wasn't early access, was it?
I guess it was. You played it.
I played it on Switch too. Switch doesn't do early access.
Yeah, it was, the release date was August 8th, 2024.
I'm looking at it online right now. It says January 18th, which was actually longer ago than I feel like it was.
Unless it was Oh, you know what? That might be
It-
Steam release, August 8th.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It was
it
an
was-
Ubisoft game.
It was Ubisoft, so it was on Epic. I could have swore like I've seen it on PCs before.
Yeah, it was on Epic, or does Ubisoft still have their own?
I don't remember.
But yeah, it came out in January for everything else. And wow, I didn't realize it had been 8 months. But yeah, I did play that 8 months ago.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about, because there's the other Prince of Persia game, the Sands of Time remake, and I feel like there's one other one too that's still in development or that recently came out.
Yeah. So on Epic, it was 1/18/24. So yeah, okay. Yeah. So there's Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and then they also have the Rogue Prince of Persia,
Which is a roguelite
Prince of Persia game that released in May. And they're actually being sold as a combo together for right now. It's on sale 40% off. So it's $36.
The Rogue one is early access.
Yeah.
And then oh wow, I forgot the Sands of Time remake got pushed all the way to 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. We're never seeing that one.
I'll just play the old one.
Yeah, I'm sure it still plays fine-ish.
Yeah. I mean, I have them all on Steam, so why not?
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I have all of the Prince of Persia games on Steam.
You should do a Prince of Persia.
It's on the lineup. It's on the lineup.
Good. It should be.
Those games were great. Let me find them. Where's Prince of Persia, which was the Xbox one, and then Sands of Time, Warrior Within, Two Thrones, and then Forgotten Sands, which was also an Xbox one, I think.
Was Forgotten Sands, was that the 2008 one? That was like the cell shaded ish style.
2010 was Forgotten Sands. I think you're thinking Prince of Persia, which was 2008, and it was the one that was released on Xbox originally.
Yeah. It was actually pretty good.
It was, yeah.
People didn't like it, but it was actually pretty good.
I mean, it's got very positive reviews on Steam. I don't know who didn't like it. I remember loving
people
it.
did not like it when it came out because it was not the same as the Sands of Time trilogy.
It wasn't the Sands of Time stuff, yeah.
Like, it got shit all over in 2008. That's why there was never a sequel, because people didn't buy it. But,
Wasn't Forgotten Sands technically a sequel?
I don't think so.
It's the next gen fan favorite Sands of Time universe. No, so it's a sequel of the Sands of Time series. Okay.
Yeah, because what was it? The Warrior Within, Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones was 05.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whatever the last one was. But yeah, sorry, I had to go off on a side tangent with that because one of the YouTube channels I watch released a video, was it yesterday? It's an hour-long video of them playing Prince of Persia, and he's like, yeah, this game just came out, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, Cobb played it. I know he did. He doesn't play games on PC. What the heck? Like, he doesn't play early access games. I was so confused. So I had to go on that side tangent to figure that out. But yeah, so Pacific Drive is solid.
Except for the lack of endgame content.
Yeah, I wish there was a reason to continue to play. And like, if they were to do some sort of DLC or something, because like it even leaves the story a little open-ended. It's like the one of the NPCs is like, all right, I'm done. We solved this mystery, but there's still many other mysteries to solve. But I'm done. I'm leaving the zone. And the NPC is like, but I want you, driver, talking to the main character, since the car, even though the car is no longer like super special and has a hold on you, the car still is going to be there for you and protect you. I think you should continue to work with other NPC to uncover more mysteries. And so, like, all right, maybe if they do DLC, that would be cool. But I mean, if there's no reason to continue to play besides just trophies, I'm not going to continue to. There's no like, it's weird. There's a lot of single player games that are like that where I'm like, I don't see a point in continuing to play. Like, what was it? Valkyria Chronicles 4. After you beat the game, there's a bunch of different challenge things, and I'm like, but what's the point? You're not getting stronger. There's no, like, you beat the story. What's the point of these challenges? There's no PvP. I don't see a reason to play it. Which, Valkyria Chronicles 4, another game I've been wanting to replay. There's a lot of games I've been wanting to replay. Those Valkyria Chronicles games are great.
I've never, for whatever reason, I've never even tried them.
They're great,
I
man.
loved the first one. I've never played any of the other ones though.
The first one's really good. From what I hear, the second and third one are not that great. They were also like DS games, I think. They weren't even like... So the first one was a PS3 game.
Yeah.
And
I
then
think the second one's PSP.
yeah, like they're mobile games as far as I know with the second and third one. And then the fourth one was a Switch game.
I mean, the fourth one I think came out on everything, but
I don't know, but like I remember playing that one, and like they're such a cool style of a tactical RPG. Like it's just their movement isn't based on spaces; it's based on time. And like characters will continue to fire even when it's not on their turn, just a little bit slower and things like that. It's a really cool series of games.
yeah, 4 came out on everything that was out at the time. So
Okay.
PS4, Xbox One, Stadia.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I got it on Switch because just it made sense to get it.
You
on
didn't
Switch.
get it for Google Stadia?
No, I wouldn't own it now if I got it for Stadia.
I mean, that's true. Anyway, I think
Yeah.
that's probably going to do it.
That's a show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week, no, I'm sorry. No, not next week. Jeez. In 2 weeks, we'll be talking about The Godfather Part 2. Make sure you don't watch The Godfather Part 1 if you've never seen it.
Mhm.
But other than that, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. And Rich, what is your streaming looking like this week?
Twitch.tv/b_walnuts. We're on video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. Sea of Thieves season, 13 right now on Thursdays. Getting back into Monster Hunter World on Sundays, and playing Star Ocean Second Story R on Mondays and Tuesdays. Definitely come check that out. Hoping to have Star Ocean beat by the end of the month. Might not. We'll see how things progress. But September I will be playing, because I have to. I will be playing Resident Evil on 2 remake on hardcore mode, the hardest difficulty, and I also have to play Mega Man X, whatever, the last one, the Mega Man X game, because I have to play the worst game ever for my stream thing. But that'll be in September, and then of course October, spooky month, alien horror movies. Come check all that stuff out.
Nice.
Alien horror games, not movies.
No, movies too.
I mean, we can figure it out. We've got book club. I mean, the next category will be October through October, so we could do alien horror movies. Could do horror movies with the next category.
That, you know what? You're not wrong. But with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.